Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. I hope you guys are keeping well. Just a little bit of an update video from me for the Wolves news over the last day or so. Coming towards the end of the international break, but Rob Edwards has officially started training at Wolverhampton Wanderers. We saw a few images over on the Wolves website. His first training session, of course, looks like it was held yesterday evening at Compton, with the majority of the players that weren't on international duty, of course. No news coaches or anything spotted as of yet, of course, as and when there's news on Rob Edwards' coaching team, I will keep you guys updated. I mentioned yesterday, of course, other than his assistant head coach, Harry Watling, we're still expecting maybe another 3 or 4 coaches to come through the door. And I'm sure once they're confirmed and once they're at Compton, I'll give you guys the latest news on that. As always, guys, be sure to smash the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate the support on the videos as always. And there have been a few little pieces of transfer news which I'll discuss and talk about over the last week or so, really. It is coming towards silly season again. We're in November, coming towards the end of November. And of course, January or December and January quickly approaching. So let's have a look at a few pieces of news. We saw one in the last 24 hours or so from Record in Portugal, talking about Joao Gomes. Now, it's always a little bit sceptical when you've got a player playing in England linked with another English club and there's Portuguese press discussing it. Of course, I know Ruben Amorim is Portuguese, but yeah, always raises a few question marks on this for me. But Manchester United have got a short list of midfielders and Joao Gomes is on that list. There's also other players, Elliot Anderson, I believe, Carlos Baleba on there of Brighton, who are probably a little bit too far out of Manchester United's price range. Therefore, Joao Gomes is a player that they're identifying, and it's thought that the market value of Joao is around 50 million euros. Do I think that fee is far away from what Wolves would get for him? It's probably close by, and I know some people would probably think, Dave, what are you talking about? We can't afford to lose him. We probably can't afford to lose him, to be honest, but ultimately, when we are a team in the bottom 3, I think this situation, of course, will be a lot more clear in January, depending on how well Rob starts and whereabouts Wolves are in the table at that point. But if by sort of early to mid-January it looks like there's no chance of Wolverhampton Wanderers staying in the Premier League, ultimately there are going to be the bigger players knocking on the door saying, look, I want to be part of the 2026 World Cup squad, and the only way I'm going to do that, Ancelotti's been in my ear and says I need a move or I need to be playing for a bigger club if I'm going to be able to be given that opportunity. So unfortunately, we may well see that. Wolves, it has been said in the UK press, don't want to sell or have assured Rob Edwards no big names will be gone in January. But that's easier said than done, especially with the agent and player power that we see now. But like I mentioned earlier, if I give my positive spin on it, a decent run of results between now and Christmas and the New Year for Rob, certain results going our way, and Wolves all of a sudden are still only 3 to 6 points away from safety, the situation can change a little bit because Fosun can say, look, survival is potentially possible, so we will stick our hand in the pocket and back the team a little bit more. And then all of a sudden we have a really strong second half of the season, and these boys have got a really good chance of getting in these national team squads. But yeah, I would take this one with a pinch of salt for now, because I think the sort of reports closer to home are suggesting that players will stay. But as fans, I would just pre-warn you guys, we probably are going to be seeing reports like this on quite a regular basis now anyway. 2 English players that have been linked with Wolves over the last 24 hours or so are Dwight McNeil of Everton and Calvin Phillips of Manchester City. According to Football Insider, Wolves have inquired about potential loan deals for the pair of them. Look, loan deals tick a lot of boxes for me. Homegrown players are a must pretty much now for Wolves between now and the end of the season. If we have a look at Wolves' registered squad, or at least the players that are on the Premier League website at the moment, of course, not many of them are British-based players. You've got the goalkeepers, Matt Doherty, Hugo Bueno does class as homegrown, as does Keanu Hoover. Then other than that, there aren't many there. Matheus Mane is obviously English, but doesn't need to be registered anyway due to his age. So Wolves have got no wiggle room in regards to signing non-homegrown players at the moment. So if foreign players were to join the football club, foreign players would other foreign players would have to leave ultimately. That's why I think out of these two, Calvin Phillips probably doesn't fill me with much excitement, to be honest. Really struggled for game time against Man City. Obviously, unfortunately for him, he's in that pool of players that have made that bigger move and it's just not worked out for them. It could be an okay option, but, you know, I'm not going to scream from the rooftops that we need him. Dwight McNeil's a little bit more appealing, got a little bit more versatility, got the creativity that Wolves have lacked so far this season. Game time is a little bit limited. Everton right now and can fill in at wing back as well if needed, and did that job under the likes of Sean Dyche at Burnley previously as well. So I think Dwight McNeil out of the two is a little bit more appealing. English players are a must. I think loan deals will probably suit a lot of parties there. So we'll wait and see on those sort of players. One or two other players that have been linked. Christos Mandas as well. Lazio goalkeeper. I don't think I spoke about him before. But Christos Mandas has been linked with Wolves. Now, this is a player that has been linked quite often over the last probably 12 to 18 months, to be completely honest. A goalkeeper is a weird situation for Wolves. Of course, Jose Sarr out of favour, or was out of favour towards the end of Vitor Pereira's time at the club. Will Rob Edwards give him the nod again on Saturday? Who knows? That situation may well change. If we were to free up, or want to free up, a foreign spot or a non-homegrown spot in the team, I think Jose Sarr this January is probably one of the players that would be easier to move on if teams are needing a goalkeeper. Mandas isn't getting a huge amount of game time at Lazio right now. It's said that Wolves, according to Il Messaggero in Italy, are preparing a loan with an option to buy. Lazio would prefer a straight sale. But this rumour has been doing the rounds. I remember I spoke to someone around the time it first came up, and whilst Wolves have had eyes on him, have never really taken the interest in him too seriously. So again, Mandas, this is one I would maybe take with a pinch of salt. Goalkeeper situation, I think, is a department in an area that Wolves do need to strengthen in the near future. But is it a priority for January onwards? Well, not in January anyway. Next summer, I think, is probably going to be the time for Wolves to potentially look at a goalkeeper. And over the weekend as well, another old rumour cropped up. I don't know if it's slow news days due to the international break, but in Ecuador, pretty strong reports suggesting that Wolves are now at the front of the queue to sign Patrick Mercado. Again, a little bit difficult. You would need to sell a non-homegrown player because he is over the age of 21. He's 22 years of age, midfielder, currently playing for Independiente del Valle. Had some interest in him. I think Chelsea have been interested historically. Sevilla have been leading the race to potentially sign him, but it's thought that Mercado could be an option and could be one of the faces and bodies through the door in January. So we'll keep our eye on that one. It seems a little bit more serious than before. So yeah, just a little update from me, guys. Hopefully that was worthwhile for you. As always, I'll try and keep you guys as up to date as and when I can. When I can do daily videos, I'll try my very best to do so. Like I mentioned at the end of last video, really unsure what the rest of this week is going to look like for me. Of course, I'll have my match preview out, but I'm expecting the keys for a new house on a Friday. So we'll be interested to see, and I've got to try and juggle the podcast and everything with that as well. But guys, thank you very much as always. Be sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you all very, very soon.